The Sky This Month, with your host, Dave McDonald.
Hello and welcome to The Sky This Month. I'm your host, Dave McDonald, astronomy teacher at Belmont High School and senior educator at the McAuliffe Shepherd Discovery Center. This is November 2019, and what a great month to be looking up in the sky. Got a couple of meteor showers going on. There are some great conjunctions with the moon and some planets going on. We're going to talk a little bit about the zodiac. I have some of my students from Belmont High School are going to share a little bit each about the constellations in the zodiac. And the McAuliffe Shepherd Discovery Center has a special program every first Friday night of the month. So November 1st is a Friday night, and I'll be talking about the zodiac. And then on December 6th, that will be the first Friday night of December, so don't miss the McAuliffe Shepherd Discovery Center, December 6th. Check out the website, starhop.com. starhop.com. And every first Friday as well, the New Hampshire Astronomical Society has telescopes for people to look at the stars and the planets that are out. So don't miss December 6th at the McAuliffe Shepherd Discovery Center starting at 7 o'clock. Well, this is a great month. We have Jupiter kind of moving out of the picture, but the good news is Venus is moving into the picture. But at the end of the month, Jupiter and Venus are going to be coming very close together as they swap positions. And we're going to show you how to see that at the end of the month. And we also have a great meteor shower. Now, a lesser known meteor shower I'll mention later is called the Taurids. But the major meteor shower of the month is the Leonid meteor shower. And here with me today is Adam Krasnecki. And Adam is a student at Belmont High School. Well, welcome aboard.
Glad to be here.
Good to have you with us, Adam. So we're mentioning the Leonid meteor shower is coming up. What do you know about the Leonid meteor shower? I know it happens, and this is important, it's early morning of November 18th. So it's not November 18th evening, it's the early morning, like after midnight of November 18th. But why is it called the Leonid meteor shower?
So actually what's happening is the Earth is passing through the tail of a comet, and in this case the name is Tempel-Tuttle, which has an orbital period of 33 years. And at the same time, each time the Earth passes through this tail of debris, and what you see are the meteor shower emanating from the Leo area in the sky, and it lines up each time.
Pretty cool. And so that's why every year it happens about the same time, because Earth is coming around through that same trail of debris the same time every year. Very cool. All right, so you don't want to miss that, and you want to also go out and make yourself comfortable, have some hot chocolate, donuts. You want to sit down, make yourself comfortable. This is not the kind of thing where you pop out the kitchen door, stand in your driveway with your neck cocked back. You want to give your eyes time to adjust. You want to relax and spend an hour or so. Dress warm, blankets, whatever, lawn chairs that hopefully you may need to dig out from the summer, and just enjoy the sky. You do not have to see the constellation of Leo, but a little later on Adam will show you where the constellation of Leo is in the sky. All right? So another thing that we're talking about is the zodiac. And as I said, I have some students who are going to be sharing about different zodiac constellations. But with Adam right here, he's got a couple that he's going to talk about. And I think Gemini is first on your list.
That's correct. So Gemini is located in the northern hemisphere of the sky and means the twins in Latin. The constellation represents the twins, Castor and Pollux. And they grew up together, and they were very close in mythology, and so that makes sense that they're very close in the sky. Here's one of them, and then here's the other. The two were part of the Argonauts expedition to the Golden Fleece. Pollux is the brightest star in Gemini, with the 17th brightest star in the night sky. It's an evolved orange giant with a stellar classification of K03. Has an apparent magnitude of 1.14.
So, kind of neat. And Gemini is typically a winter constellation, but we can still find it now, and it's hanging out not too far away from Leo, which we're going to see in a little bit. So then another constellation that Adam's going to share is Capricorn.
Capricorn is located more in the southern sky than Gemini is, and it means the goat in Latin. It was first cataloged by Greek astronomer Ptolemy in the 2nd century. It is home to several notable stars. Also, it is home to Messier object number 30. In the mythology, Pan was a goat, and Pan was a god who disguised himself as a goat and was hiding from a monster, and as he jumped into a river, part of his body turned into a fish. So the constellation Capricorn is often still depicted as a goat with the tail of a fish. Delta Capricorni is the brightest star in the constellation with an apparent magnitude of 2.85. And Beta Capricorni is the second brightest star in Capricornus and has the traditional name Dabhi, with an apparent magnitude of 3.05, and is actually a 3-part star system.
That's really kind of neat. That's a 3-star system. And Capricorn is not one of the brightest constellations
No,
in the sky.
not by any means.
And I know what I'm trying to find, like Sagittarius, which you'll learn about a little later in the show, it's to the left. As you're looking at Sagittarius, it's to the left or towards the east of Sagittarius. And so that's the area of the sky in which it resides. So very cool. So now, Adam, if you would show us in the night sky where to find Gemini, Castor and Pollux, and the constellation of Leo, where the Leonid meteor shower seems to radiate, okay?
So this great picture I have behind me here is of the ecliptic, the line running down the screen, which many of the zodiac constellations fall on. And here we have Gemini, Cancer, and Leo. And in Gemini, you can find Castor, which is the top star here, and Pollux, which is the star below that. Here's Leo. Like I mentioned before, the Leonids here. This is the source of radiance, where you can see the meteor shower all coming from that area throughout the late night and early morning of the 17th. And this picture is from the 17th around 11 p.m. So later that night, early into the next day in the morning, you can see those meteors very well. The moon appears here as mostly full, but in reality, it's approximately about 1/4.
Hey, well, I just wanted to pop out for a quick haircut, and now I'm back. I got 2 things I just wanted to insert here. First off, that the McAuliffe Shepherd Discovery Center has a first Friday night program, and December 6th, it's about the worst weather in the world. Mount Washington observer Will Broussard is going to be presenting a program about the world's worst weather, what it's like to work on top of Mount Washington. There'll be video footage, some neat photographs, some instruments, some demonstrations. It'll be a very interactive time. So don't miss the McAuliffe Shepherd Discovery Center, Friday night, December 6th, starting at 7 o'clock, and we'll see you there. It's in Concord. Then, I want to introduce to you students in my astronomy class at Belmont High School. They put together just a little bit of snippets about the zodiacal constellations, and so along with what Adam's talked about, I want to share a little bit with you about what's going on with these other constellations, and my students are going to share a little bit about that.
Hello, I'm Dylan. I'm here to talk to you about the constellation of Leo. It's been around since the Mesopotamian era, about 4,000 BC. but it was known by a bunch of different societies through time, such as the Persians, as different names, not Leo. But it was first cataloged by Greek astronomer Ptolemy in the 2nd century as one of the earliest recognized of the 12 zodiac constellations. And there's 2 meteor showers associated with Leo. The Leonids, which occur November 17th, 18th, and the January Leonids, which occur between January 1st and January 7th. Its symbol is a lion, so Leo the lion. Leo is the 5th constellation of the zodiac, coming after Cancer and before Virgo. And its start date traditionally happens around July 23rd, and its end date is around August 23rd. So, as you can see, the stars here, the brightest star in the constellation of Leo is Regulus, or Alpha Leonis. It is also ranked the 21st brightest star in the entire sky. It is about 78 light years away from Earth, and its apparent magnitude is about a 1.36. Another star that is included in the constellation of Leo is Denebola, and it has a magnitude of 2.13. And just a little bit into the mythology of Leo. The most popular story behind the constellation is the Nemean lion and Hercules. The Nemean lion was known for capturing women and using them to lure warriors to their deaths. And Hercules was sent to go kill this lion as one of his first 12 labors. And the Nemean lion was larger and stronger than any lion that was known at the time, and it could not be killed by a weapon that was wielding by metal or stone or wood. So Hercules was forced to strangle the lion to death with his bare hands. And after he strangled the lion to death, he removed the pelt with one of its own claws, and as a symbol of triumph, he wore it as a cloak or a set of armor for the rest of his life.
Libra is the 7th constellation in the order of the zodiac, and it's sometimes called the scales due to the shape of the constellation. The story behind it is that it used to be the front claws of the constellation Scorpius, but a group of Romans led by Julius Caesar decided they should change that, and it just stuck from there on. The Romans associated it with their goddess of justice, and the constellation represents blind justice and the balance between good and bad. Libra was once considered a part of Scorpio, as I already mentioned, and the brightest star in Libra, Beta Librae, has the name Zubin Eshtamali, which is Arabic for northern claw. It has an apparent magnitude of 2.61 and a spectral class of B85. Zubin el-Ghanabi is the southern claw, also in Arabic. Libra is best seen in late March to early April, approximately 6 months away from when the sun is actually in the constellation. And this year, as the sun passed into it on September 23rd, it marked the first day of fall, or the fall equinox, by crossing the point of the celestial equator and the ecliptic meet. And this is different from the traditional date of Libra.
My name is Brian Winslow, and my constellation is Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a constellation that can only be seen in the summer month and is not visible for any other part of the year. It depicts a centaur, which is a half man, half horse, and is most commonly seen as a teapot constellation, although there are more parts of the constellation, if you want to call it like the full constellation. The mythology follows Chiron, which is most commonly credited as the centaur in the constellation, and the most common person who is credited for the invention of archery, who was supposedly a legendary archer and hunter. Other sects of mythology often credited as a satyr instead of a centaur, who was the son of the satyr gods Pan. Alternative tradition holds that the second centaur constellation, Centaurus, is also Chiron, and that Chiron asked Zeus to devise both of those constellations to guide the Argonauts in their quest for the Golden Fleece.
My name is Bryce Pethick, and I am doing the constellation Scorpius. Scorpius is 5,000 years old and is known by many different names. the Javanese people in Indonesia call this constellation Bangakanga. Bangakanga means wounded swan. Mythology, so Orion boasted about how he could kill every animal on Earth. So Artemis, the hunter, decided to unleash the scorpion on him, and when the scorpion won, Zeus put it up in the heavens to celebrate. In Roman times, Caesar decided that the claws were too big, so he got rid of the claws and added a new constellation called Libra. Libra is the 7th constellation in the zodiacs, and the zodiac Scorpius is the 8th constellation in the zodiacs. So Scorpius is one of the brightest constellations, or brightest star in the Scorpius constellation is Antares. Antares is a red supergiant. There's 5 Messier objects in Scorpius. In November, Scorpius has the Sun, Mercury, and Venus in the constellation. The best time to see the constellation is in July and August in the northern hemisphere, about like 9 p.m. In the southern hemisphere, it is in the highest and northern part of the sky, near kind of the Milky Way. The right ascension is about 17 hours, and the declination is about minus 40 degrees.
Hi, my name is Seth, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the constellation Taurus. Taurus is the 2nd constellation in the order of the zodiac, and it's one of the larger constellations of the zodiac. Taurus means bull in Latin and Greek. It's derived from Latin and Greek words that mean bull, and it correlates to a story about a bull. The story goes that Zeus transformed himself into a bull to seduce the Phoenician princess Europa. When he appeared before Europa as a bull, and when she climbed on his back, he carried her across the Mediterranean Sea to the island of Crete, where he became father to Minos, the king of Crete. A bit more about the constellation itself. Taurus is actually home to one of the brighter stars in the night sky, Aldebaran. It's a magnitude 0.9 star, and it's the 14th brightest star in the sky. There's other pretty notable objects in Taurus, including the Pleiades, a very distinct star cluster, and the Crab Nebula. The Crab Nebula is a supernova that was first observed by Chinese astronomers in 1054. Taurus is most visible during the months of November and December, and it cannot be observed during most of April and May, as that is when it's in the path of the sun.
Hello, I'm Hayden Parent, and I have the constellation of Pisces, and Pisces consists of the 2 fish twins of Cupid and Eros, and they are tied to a string so they don't lose each other while they escape from Typhon. And Pisces is a really unique constellation because of the stars inside of the constellation aren't as bright as all the other constellations that you might see in the zodiac. Pisces' brightest star is Rho Pisces, and that star has a magnitude of about 3.41-ish type. And then the second brightest star would be the Alpha star, which has a magnitude about 4. And so if you take a look at all the stars, there's some stars that you won't be able to see really well unless you have very good eyesight. So Pisces, during the winter months that it is most visible, might even be hard to see because of the human eye. The astronomy sign for it, it's the 12th. So it might be the 3rd one starting from January. It's the 3rd one in February. But it is counted as the 12th and ends that date and time for the zodiac.
I'm Darren, and I'm here to talk about the constellation of Cancer. In mythology, Cancer is in the story of the 12 labors of Hercules, where while Hercules is trying to fight the Hydra, Hera sends the crab, Cancer, to go try to stop him. But instead of stopping him, Hercules ends up kicking it to the stars. And in more factual ways, the constellation of Cancer is in the dimmest part of the sky. There's very dark stars there that make up a total of 6 stars to form the constellation. And in the zodiac ring, it is the 4th of the 12 constellations.
My name is Ashton, and I'm going to tell you about Virgo. The constellation Virgo is the 6th constellation of the zodiac, and in Greek mythology, the constellation is associated with many things, mostly being the goddesses Persephone, Aragon, and Astraea. Persephone was the daughter of Zeus and Demeter, and she married Hades and resided mostly in the underworld during summer. Aragon was the daughter of Icarius, and when Icarius was killed by his intoxicated shepherds, she hung herself out of grief. And Astraea was often pictured with the scales of justice, which are now the constellation of Libra. During the Babylonian era, part of the constellation was known as the Furrow, which represented the goddess Shala and her ear of grain. And Spica, the constellation's brightest star, is Latin for ear of grain. And Spica is a magnitude 0.98 star and is 263.24 light years away.
Hi, I'm Dominic, and I'm here to talk about Aquarius. Aquarius is the Latin word for water carrier. It is situated between Capricornus and Pisces. It is made up of 15 stars, roughly, and contains 3 Messier objects. The brightest stars are Beta and Alpha Aquarii. The Sun currently appears within it between February 16th and March 11th, and the birthday for it is January 21st to February 20th, and it is best seen in the sky in October. In ancient Egypt, Aquarius represented the annual flood of the Nile. In Greek tradition, it was represented as just a vase, not a person carrying a vase, and a single water stream poured down to Pisces. In Greek mythology, it was associated with Deucalion, the son of Prometheus, who built a ship with his wife, Pyrrha, to survive a flood. It's also been associated with Ganymede, one of the beautiful sons of the Trojan king Tros.
So Adam was showing you the sky the way it looked late night, November 17th, early morning of the 18th, which is when you want to check out the Leonid meteor shower. So I've backed up time a little bit to November 13th, just to point out that here you have the moon, which again, looks like it's full on this diagram, but it's really in the realm, it's a waxing crescent moon approaching first quarter. And this is Aldebaran. Aldebaran is the brightest star in the eye of the bull, and this is about 9 o'clock at night, and you can see that we're kind of in the east where it's rising. Aldebaran is the eye of the bull, and this V shape that you see here represents the face of the bull. And then of course there's the Pleiades star cluster, sometimes known as the Seven Sisters. We'll talk more about Taurus and the features of Taurus when we get into the winter months, but this is just a good photo op of the moon hanging out with Aldebaran. So one of the neat things at the end of the month is looking at the planets that you're going to see in the western sky. So in the western sky, we're going to be looking at Jupiter and Venus. So remember, I mentioned to you earlier that Jupiter's kind of moving out of sight, it's starting to set, Venus is starting to rise, and it's going to become more and more prominent. We still have a little bit of time to check out Saturn, but this is the 24th, November 24th, around 5 o'clock. So you see that Venus and Jupiter are really close to the horizon, so you don't need a barn in your way, or trees, or hills, or mountains. You want a nice, flat, good look towards the west, slightly south of west, and you'll see a nice picture of Jupiter and Venus together two bright planets. The Venus is the brightest of all. So that's going to be a neat night. But you ain't seen nothing yet. Check this next one out for November 28th, so just 4 days later, November 28th, 2 days after Thanksgiving, the moon enters the picture. And as Adam said earlier, it looks like there's a full moon going on there, but this is really a slender crescent. It's just highlighted so you can't miss where it is. But it's really a slender crescent. And this is going to be another wonderful photographic opportunity. So again, we're about 5 o'clock after sunset. Need a nice flat western horizon, a little bit south of west. See Venus, Jupiter, and the moon. It's going to be a great photographic opportunity. And once again, over time, Venus is going to be rising, Jupiter is going to be setting and going out of sight. We've got Saturn a little while longer, but in the months to come, we're going to see Venus kind of approach Saturn. And the next night, which I'm not going to show you an image quite yet, but the neat thing is that the moon is going to be hanging out next to Saturn on the 29th. So this next image shows and illustrates the ecliptic that Adam mentioned earlier, and the ecliptic again is the pathway of the sun, and that's the path that defines the constellations of the zodiac, because the sun passes through each of the signs of the zodiac that we heard a lot about from my students a little bit earlier in the show. And so this is just an illustration that you can see how the planets, Jupiter and Venus and the moon, are all hugging this line of the ecliptic, which is the path of the sun, and then Saturn, and then we would keep on going through all the planets, and Neptune and Uranus are out in the sky as well, but we'll talk about those another time. So, hope that you enjoyed the show. Don't forget the McAuliffe Shepard Discovery Center on Friday night, December 6th at 7 o'clock with the New Hampshire Astronomical Society there with telescopes as well. Hope that you enjoyed the show and appreciate the time and the effort that my astronomy students put into putting together their talks about the zodiac. I'm Dave McDonald.